And we're back. Welcome to the Funky Marketing Show. This is the show where I interview people that are either talking or doing marketing in a different way with a little bit of funk, as I say, and trying to look at the things from different perspectives. So today I have a guest that is doing just that through talking with people, consulting, writing books and all kind of stuff. Like, we're engaged inside the community, and on LinkedIn we're going to talk about marketing and sales, focus on B2B. But before that, let's get into that funky intro, and then we go. And we're back. Scott Marker, welcome to the Funky Marketing Show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming. I know we had a lot of chat, and I remember you also giving me the feedback after the first episode with Yag. That was a while ago.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, I've never met him, but I consider him a friend. You know, he's in my Peak community. We've done Zooms before talking, and just love the guy.
Yeah, I actually met him when he created a sort of a small group inside LinkedIn DMs where there was like Nick Bennett, Camille Trent, a lot of people that are now, well known on LinkedIn
Huh?
and inside B2B community. He gathered all of us to kind of chat and support each other while we grow. And, that's how I met him. That's how I met a lot of other people. Then we basically stay inside the small chat, me and Yag, and we've been back and forth a lot of times. Like, during changes in careers, we like to have to pick each other's brains and actually, have a little bit of clarity from afar.
Oh yeah.
That's always a good thing. So, guys, I didn't tell you that Scott actually runs two companies. Scott, I'm not gonna get into it. You're gonna explain us in
Okay.
details what exactly do you do, and what those two companies do.
I have two different ones. I own a franchise, and it's just I actually monetize what I've done forever. So I've always got people together, local people together, and just networked. You know, attorneys and commercial realtors and accountants, and just get together and refer each other business. And so the franchise had a model that made it once a month meetings. So members pay me money. So that's now I just kind of monetize that piece. The other thing I do too is I published my first book on it was mainly focused on B2B sales with some marketing, but mainly focused on B2B sales in 2009. And off of that, I got speaking things, engagements that I got. Boise State had me teach a marketing class there. I was speaking at, for a couple of years. And then Verizon, that was my biggest one. Verizon just bumped into me and someone said, "Hey, Scott wrote a book, talks a lot about sales." And so they talked to me and said, "Give me a number." And I did the kickoff for them several years. That was back a couple of years after I wrote my book. And now, so I've done basically sales consulting and marketing too, but my strength is the sales part. And now I'm getting ready to publish my second book in probably about, I don't know, 60 days. And my second book, which is Broken, How to Fix B2B Sales and ways to profitable growth and win.
Sounds good. And I saw like its name Broken. Yeah,
Yep,
if I got it
Broken.
right.
And I got that actually it was influenced from Sagram's book Move, because Christopher Lochhead, which he helped me, that he influenced that Broken to change it just to Broken. And then also my subtitle, just through DMs, he actually kind of helped me kind of polish up my subtitle. So how to fix B2B sales, drive profitable growth, and win in only 135 pages.
I mean, you know, enough. If that helps, that's enough. I'm not a fan, building a huge book, writing huge books, blotting huge
Yeah.
materials. Also, like writing a strategy of 60 pages that nobody ever looks at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those kind of things. Like, let's do practical things that actually work and help people
Yep.
do what they were supposed to do. But you were telling me that you were recently, talking to revenue people, and you found out that
Yeah.
most of them know no sales, but they don't have actually the background in related to marketing, to customer success, to all operations, all other parts of the companies. So let's chat a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, what it was is that Sangram just came across me on back in into 2000, it's been a couple years ago, and during COVID, and just liked what I was doing on LinkedIn, and asked me if I would join the group Peak, which I did, and that's all basically a lot of marketing, chief marketing officers, and so my background, I did do was in charge. I've done informal marketing my whole life because the marketing departments of the companies I work for, I didn't think was doing a good job. So like a lot of salespeople, I wrote articles, got articles published. I got the reviews on our websites were from my customers. Speaking, I did speaking engagements. So I did a lot of stuff marketing should be doing that wasn't doing. And then formally, I worked for 2 small companies, and they promoted me to director of marketing, sales, and actually customer service. So that was the first time that I had the full spectrum. I basically just did account-based marketing, is really what I did at that company, and it wasn't even called that then. So I even though I'm writing a book and I've interviewed hundreds of sales leaders and salespeople, I started to get kinda listen to the podcast from these supposed sales gurus. A lot of it was repackaged crap, old "Hey, how you gonna do it? How you gonna, get better? Well, you're gonna work 10 times harder than the guy next year, the lady next year." I mean, that's a bunch of crap, you know? Give me some strategies or some, true techniques. So I kind of started listening and submerging myself more in marketing, and then I started saying, really the focus now seems to be, the biggest title change last year on LinkedIn was chief revenue officers, right? And so that's where I thought that's kind of my book would be focused at is the C level and maybe chief, um, revenue officers because they're the ones that are supposed to be focused on, bringing everybody as a team together. So lately, I've been listening to some podcasts where they've been interviewing some relatively new, chief revenue officers, and I was surprised. One was really good. I mean, one can't remember her name, I'm sorry, but it's Smart Bug Media. She was sharp. I wish I remember her name now. She was sharp. I loved her because she really understood the whole marketing, sales, customer service, and operations, where some of the other ones I listened to, they sounded like salespeople. They're former vice presidents of sales. They get brought in to be the chief revenue officer, and they don't have any experience in marketing or customer service. Or even if you don't, when I was listening to them talk, they didn't talk about the full team. They talked about just sales, which I think is going. I think they're going to be in trouble. Because I mean, if you're supposed to be bringing the whole team together, you gotta try to understand the whole team, from because it can start with marketing all the way through sales, all the way through customer service. Then you have what about your product development? They gotta be in there. So that's kind of I was kind of what I was talking about was it was interesting that a lot of the chief revenue officers were so focused on sales versus what's it supposed to be about? Helping, not selling customers, helping the buyer's journey, helping the experience, right? Well, why are you talking about revenue so much? Why don't you talk about, hey, how do we onboard people, make it a good environment, right? And once we get them aboard, how do we retain them and grow them versus focusing so much on revenue?
Exactly. And I felt like, watching those job changes, it felt like, people that I knew that were working as VP of sales or head of sales or however it is, like suddenly they were CROs, like chief revenue officers. And what was interesting, like it took a couple of months that I started seeing actually, female who were chief revenue officers. Like
Yep.
it was mostly male, and then slowly, I think it's still a huge disadvantage, like male to female, but actually female to male. But things started to change a little bit, and what I actually think, and I'm seeing it as I work with the companies, is that those companies, especially B2B tech companies, SaaS companies,
Yep.
they know sales, right? And that's why they don't get that sometimes sales is not broken. Like buyers change the way they buy, and they need help, to facilitate them the way they're going to buy so they get to sales. And sales is, they're trying to fix sales, like let's get more trainings to the people. Let's get somebody who is doing things differently when it comes to sales to help us out. Let's hire more SDRs. Let's pay more to the advertising so maybe we get more contacts. Those kind of things, and they don't see that the way we actually behave online, the way we change, the way we buy has changed. Because like I look at just you know me and some other people around me, you know we spend more time actually engaging on LinkedIn, on Twitter, inside the communities than we actually work.
Yeah.
And it has something with the way we buy, because like few years back, internet wasn't what it was today,
Yep.
and we could just go to Google, find the product, find like some testimonials, customers, case studies, decides which what we're going to buy, compare the pricing, and then we go. But today we actually go to communities, social media, we ask people, you know what's like I had a situation recently when I was buying the social media scheduling tool, and I went straight to LinkedIn and I asked,
Yep.
how which tool would you recommend? I want to change buffer. I feel it's not right for what I do. It's not focusing on B2B on LinkedIn. It's focusing on e-commerce, small businesses. So Instagram, I want to find something else. And then people recommended me tools that I didn't even had a need to go to their websites. Like I checked, okay, this is I went uh, straight to one of the tools that I have chosen, seen, aha, it's a fit, let's go. Otherwise I would go to community, maybe pick up the phone, call somebody that's working in the same position and go. So I think the core of how we buy is changed, and it's affecting the way we do all those other stuff. But B2B companies still go behind it in understanding what actually changed.
Yeah. That's the big change. That's what the big change of the buyers, just what you just did. Chris Walker talks about a lot is, the dark social and stuff, is that's exactly what I did. Is I was looking for some video editing for a podcast I'm doing. And I asked people on LinkedIn, people on Facebook, and Pablo Gomez on Be the Stage. He's in the Peak community too. He actually sent me a video on a Sunday saying, Scott, you need to use this type of software. It's awesome. I use it. It's inexpensive and it's awesome. So, I'm not going to go shopping. I mean, that's the one. I mean, I got it was probably 8 to 1 to go with that type of software. So again, did I go look at their website and stuff? No, not at all. Afterwards I went and looked at some stuff, but I didn't do anything. So that's a big change in the way people are buying. And so, but a lot of companies aren't changing. It's the same. And I've heard a lot of marketing people say this, and I definitely come from more of a sales background, right? Because that's my main focus, either being a salesperson or even as a sales director of sales. We're a small company. I did cold. I mean, warm outreach. I did it myself. I walked in on buildings and talk to decision makers and stuff like that. So, but that being said, marketing seems to have woken up, which I like to say it, because now there's a
Yes.
lot of talk about actually not just spending tons of money and being the arts and craft. I used to call them, the companies I work for, the arts and craft department, right? They're actually being held accountable for when they spend all that money So what are we getting? And not leads anymore. Everyone's starting to know it's not about leads. It's about true opportunities that are coming in, right? But sales doesn't seem like it's progressing. It seems like it's still a bunch of SDRs pounding the phone and doing outreach. It just, or if you download an ebook, go bug people that don't want to buy. So I think that's the thing I found kind of overall interesting in this journey, right, in the book, is marketing seems to have changed and is continuing to change, and sales is the same old crap, which is and it failing and they're failing worse and worse. I mean, the amount they showed a graph the other day, the amount of reps overall in the B2B obtaining quota for the last 10 years has consistently dropped. And the turnover rate has gone up. So it's just, I can't believe, in my book, I say this too, is I think there should be a lot of sales leaders that are just fired. I mean, they're just, I mean, they're doing the same crap. Do they ever stop and say, okay, let's look at marketing and sales and let's look at everything we're doing, paid ads, organic, cold outreach that we're doing over here, ebooks, and do an audit and say what's working, right? And what's not working a lot of times is the old school stuff of downloading these ebooks and then having your SDRs follow up with them when they're not even interested. So I don't know what are you seeing on the market, because you're more on the marketing side for sure.
Yeah, like what I'm seeing is that the sales guys who are doing great job understand marketing,
Yeah,
and they understand what they need to do. That they need to create a relationship with people to actually be able to sell when the time comes. Because like in B2B, a lot of people are not in the market to buy right now, right? I don't know. Some B2B LinkedIn Institute says it's 95%. I think it's even more people that are not in the market to buy right now. I think it's around like 1 to 3% that are in the market right now, which meaning, you need to do something to prepare them when they're ready to buy. So they come to you. And I think on the other hand, like now marketing started to change, but before that marketing was playing safe.
yeah,
Like we're gonna do creatives, we're gonna create webinars, we're gonna extract some contacts, basically doing digital sales in that way, but also being away from the revenue. They
yeah.
didn't want.
Running. I've worked for marketing people before, and I've had marketing people tell me I'm not a salesperson. When I'm saying, so what are you creating here? Now we call it, that's before everyone's starting to say demand gen, but um, it really is you're right, and I like the term being less careful. I can't remember trying to go back. I really like what you said was marketing starting to be less, they're less careful about what they do, which I totally agree with, and they have to, because the chief revenue officers now, they're under the gun too, right? For getting, so they're going to be looking at all the money spent and making sure that you get it in. So now, so all that being said, this is why this is the perfect time for companies, sales, marketing. We'll start with marketing, sales, and customer service to get together and say, okay, folks, we're in this together. And guess what? We're going to be all of us are going to be under pressure to bring in new customers, right? So let's work together as a team. What's the most efficient way we can work together? And then talk between each other and kind of have like ABM type approach, an ABM mindset, right? We're all working as a team, right? And even if we do it separately, if we're all talking as a team, that's what I recommend in my book. You're going to be significantly further ahead than if you're all siloed off and you're all doing your own thing. But I'm telling you, with the pressure from above on, I mean, I see this. I used to look at sales. Sales has always been high turnover. I'm starting to see it in the marketing now. And I think it's because they're being held accountable for the spending the money. And if they don't, I mean, if they spend another $50,000 and they can't explain it, they're getting shown the door. So again, you have more experience in the marketing side. What are you seeing in the marketing world? Do you think their marketers are being held more accountable now? I mean, accountable is getting canned.
Accountable for the generating pipeline or the part of the revenue or how it is.
Yep.
Yes. And basically what I'm seeing, I think that the Chris Walker and the team are developing a product that will help that. Is there's a problem with marketing not being able to report on what they are
Yep.
doing and actually proving the way they are bringing the value to the company. And back in the days, that was leads.
Yep.
Like they can prove it with leads. So when you have something that that you are measuring your team on, in this case marketing, like you want to get more of it, right? More
Yep.
leads, and it got us to where we are. But then things change. Like we don't need to actually know every single person that came to the website. We don't need to
Yep.
sell to every person that downloaded our ebook or whatever it is. It's not transactional. It's more a relationship based and looking at the long term. And I look at this like it's coming from B2C. It's coming from Netflix, from Airbnb, where they're actually meeting customers halfway. Like Netflix give you personalized experience of what are the movies that you should watch based on what you have already done.
Yep.
Airbnb gives you not only the apartment, but what you can do in the city, how you can travel, what are some interesting events over there. So they're meeting you halfway. And now when we as people, as buyers are used to that, we're not going to go back and excuse other companies for not doing it. We will demand that for them. And looking and all those things. So we want to do our research, how we're going to buy, see what are the options. We don't want to talk to sales so they can tell us what our options are. And if you look at those things, it's now it's not that complicated to prove what marketing is doing. you know Measure separately the way you are creating demand, the way you are measuring, the way you are capturing demand, and then you can see what's actually happening. And I still see companies make mistake with that. I think everybody that's listening to the podcast now know that they should have a question on the website. How did you hear about us? I
Yep.
have additional one which says, why do you want to work with us?
That's a
And
good one.
based on those things, I can actually see if they are coming from Google or they recommended by somebody,
Yep.
or I don't know. We had situation when Refine Labs set us clients, so we can see exactly how they are coming, or they are coming through demand that we are creating on LinkedIn. Like
Yep.
they said, we got funked on LinkedIn, like funky marketing. We got Nemanja on LinkedIn, those kind of stuff. And basically the companies are not even doing that. So they say, aha, we implemented that. When I go and check out on their website, it says, they give me previous created answers. So it's not like they give me open field so I can write down, aha, I was talking with Scott and he told me about P community and I should be a part of it. But you just gave me an option like LinkedIn, Google, or I don't know, something else.
Yep.
And I cannot even say what's happening. So I think we still need to do a lot of explaining, to explain things and go to the basics and foundation. Because I think all the mistakes that we are now talking about are created because we didn't fix the foundation, which usually starts from the customer research and the way we
Yep.
get the information.
Yeah, that's what I find too is the big talk right now is self-reported attribution, and it's funny because again, a lot of stuff I was doing like ABM approach, ABX now, right? I was actually doing it. I just didn't have a term for what I was doing, right? So self-reported attribution. Here's what I did when I was around those two companies, and this is one of the times when I was writing my first book, and had the most freedom I ever had. The owner just said, "Hey, you're in charge of marketing and sales and customer service. What do we do?" Right. So I had a 10 plus year old company and I got to do what I do. And I did very well there. But one thing I implemented immediately is, if had only a few, if someone was calling in and inquiring, there was only a few people that were allowed to talk to them. Right. So, but we had somebody available all the time. Right. But only because I coached those people. And what did I say? Now, we did have an open field too on our website, right? That I said, "How do you hear about us?" No click downs or nothing. That's because that's so long ago, they probably wasn't even available. Right. But because this is back in the mid the
Yeah,
2000s,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, but this is what I did. If someone called in, right, emailed in, right, once we talked to them, every time it was the same thing. We said, "Hey, thanks for calling in. Hey, before we go any further, how'd you hear about us? How'd you find your way here?" And we just wait, right? No matter what their answer was, we said, "Oh, hey, thanks. No matter what their answer was, we say, great, because we get a lot of referrals and we want to thank our customers for referring us. How can I help you? Right. And then we would ask them again later on after they've been onboarded, because I can't tell you how many people said, well, I think I Googled you. I think this, I think that. And then they remember they saw me speak or the owner speak at some place. And that's where they really knew about me. Right. So I think it, again, it focuses on the customer, right? And real quick on the focus on the customer. In my book, I try to change my language from my first book and even stuff I talk about. My first book, I said companies, specifically salespeople, need to focus on RGAs, revenue generating activities, right? And because a lot of times they're in meetings or they got paperwork they got to do, and I'm like, quit, knock that off, right? When I was in charge of everything, I tried to do as much as I can to get my small team out doing what they should be doing, talking to existing customers and talking to prospective customers, right? So I changed that to CGAs, customer generating activities. That might seem subtle, but I'm telling you, the mindset changes a whole company. What do we got to do? Focus on the customer. I even have a I don't know if you can see it here, right? I even have
Mm-hmm.
something my first book, this was called The Strategic Selling Cycle, right? And halfway through my book, this new book, I went, duh, we're focusing on the customer. It's a strategic customer cycle. Everybody on the team is focusing on the customer. Anyway, so by doing that, I think marketing, sales, customer service, product development, we all have to talk to existing customers. And I'm telling you that I can't tell how many marketing people that I used to work with that were scared to talk to the customers, but we're writing content that was supposed to speak to the customers. And some of the companies, they actually came to me to write it. Why? Because I talk to my customers every day and talk to prospective customers. So anyway, I think the whole team needs to do a better job, and it'll become a better company and build better products if you actually talk to your customers when they're in, and that starts when they first come to you on inquiries, right? And then on the onboarding, and then on the path. So
Exactly.
I think
I always like to use an example. The company I was working with called user onboarding. They were kind of thinking on which category they should focus on, because they were no code tool. They was focused on onboarding. They were also SaaS, project management, a lot of things. So what they were doing, they were having conversation with customers two ways. So one is the way they should improve the product. So product was talking to the
yep,
customer, and in other way, customer success, to see if they're
yep,
satisfied, what is the feedback, and the marketing was listening. So out of those calls, what we saw is that basically they called their product in 5 or 6 different names. So, and they realized we don't need to rank for one category. We can go with multiple ones. How can we do that? Well, reverse engineering, we need to create the media company. Basically, we need to produce a lot of content to be able to rank on all those stuff. And now, like a year and a half or two forward, they are like top 3 in all those things, looking at the keywords, ranking and growing the
oh,
company. It's Turkish startup, focusing on the US and South Canada market, South America market, and they're doing really good based on that. Basically, we help them start out, create a strategy, help them produce content from the start, and then they start hiring people. And now they have a media company working really well and gathering the revenue and just improving the product for moving forward with that.
yeah. But back to what you said, what did they do? They had different teams talking to their customers.
Exactly
And if
what
none
you
of those
what you
teams
mentioned.
wouldn't, if it would have been just sales talking to the customers, that product wouldn't have been half as good. And then the salespeople would have had to sell more, right? Which that's it. We don't want to do. And I really stress this. And I want to talk about this a little bit. Is there's been 3 major studies, which are like 1,000 B2B buyers, 785 B2B buyers. Nice sample sizes by decent companies that do a fairly good job. A lot of companies are sloppy. I found that in my research in my book of doing their surveys, but they're all honor systems too, by the way. So they're going to ask you like, what's your turnover rate of your sales, in your sales, right? Well, they got to guess. That's the bad part, isn't it? They're going to guess high, if anything, right? And it's terrible. But in these studies, the key thing between all three studies was, depending on their age, right? One was they took it on age. The younger you were, the more you didn't even want a salesperson involved in the process of your buying. This is B2B. So what's happening is that what I've talked about for years is that the old-fashioned pounding the phones, having SDRs and AEs, and that are compensated on, not on what's best for the customer, on closing the deal, right? Buyers know that now. There's all this transparency. There's the internet. People make fun of salespeople, and they should, right? The way they do stuff, right? So I think more than ever, companies are going to have to understand that buyers have been in control and are becoming more in control. So what you need to do is I hear this a lot by a lot of people I respect, but this is where I think they're marketing focused, and I'm coming from a sales background. Buyers, well, once the buyer has to talk to a salesperson, that's when you want to. No, they don't. Buyers don't want to talk to salespeople. The studies prove it, right? What they want to talk to is an industry expert on the offerings you have, how they specifically can help me and my company overcome their challenges. They don't want to talk to a salesperson, right? So that's why I recommend in my book, I'm actually going to certify companies is salespeople, commissions, and KPI free, meaning that you can have whatever you want to call them. But and I think it'd be a great branding thing for companies is when you call in, right? When you talk to our people, right, about our products, and you get to that point, you want to talk to somebody, they know what the hell they're talking about. In fact, they're experts at our product and service, and they're experts at working with different vertical markets and your vertical market, right? And so when you're talking to them, and guess what? They might tell you you're not a good fit. Oh no, how many? I mean, you never hear that from any sales leader. They're like, no, close a deal, close a deal. They're a big company, close the deal, right? Then what happens is, we all know this. Then they come aboard, and what happens? They're a disaster because customer success can't help them because what they've been sold, they've been pushed into a product that doesn't fit them. So to keep it easy, marketing and sales, yes, you can have both, but marketing needs to do the job, create demand, and sales can do some ABM with marketing and do some outbound, right? But as a company matures, that has to be, it can't be 100% outbound sales. It has to be marketing and sales as teams, educating the, and when they do come in to talk to you, you got to have them talk to people that know what the hell they're talking about, and you got to get rid of commission. They got to be full salaried employees like everybody else. And then what I recommend in my book is everybody on the team is full salary, right? So there's no commissions at all, 0 commissions, right? Because we want to make sure you're doing the right thing, and you get rewarded for what? Bringing on the marketing and sales, bringing on the right type of customers. So however that ranking is, you look at them after you onboard them. You ask the customer success people how those people understand our product. They're going to be so easy to service. They're a perfect fit, right? Okay, they get some bonuses for that, right? And then how long do they keep with the company, right? They get bonused off of that. And then guess what? Not just marketing gets bonus, not just sales gets bonus, customer service gets bonus, product. Everybody in the team gets, what do they get bonus on? Building great products that customers like and retention of the customers. And with SaaS, I stress that in my first book, and now more than ever with SaaS companies, I'm telling you, I can't remember her name. It's a super smart lady. I love her. She works for, she's a CEO of HubSpot. I just listened to two. She was in Peak, got interviewed in Peak, and she said, "What's Sager asked her, what's the number one metric you're looking for?" And she said the first one in is net, retention, revenue retention, right? That's the first thing she's looking at as a CEO of a $1 billion company. Anyway, so I think that, like I said, going back now more than ever, I think it's a perfect time that if you're the right type of leader, you can get your team and just say, hey, we're all in this together, folks, right? There's going to be no sales, only type going after customers. It's the whole team. How can the whole team bring in the right type of customers, right? And then nurture them, bring them in, onboard them, have them have a good, and then have them have and then how can you help them out down the way even more? Expand the business, right? So, and I love Sagram too. He says upserve and cross serve. It's all about verbiage. You got to keep it customer focused, not making more revenue. Oh, how much more revenue do we make off that customer? No, it's like, right, how much more do we help them? Oh, and a byproduct of that is revenue. Anyway, that's kind of a big thing, but just overall, the focus has to be on the customer, and it has to be a culture mindset, and it can't be on making a buck.
I loved everything that you said, because looking at the SaaS companies, even from the beginning when I started working with them, like it was all the focus was fully on acquisition.
Yep.
We need to get customers, no matter what. And I compare that to the internet providers and the cable providers. I don't know how it is over there, but here in Serbia, like, there are no rewards, bonuses, or whatever discounts for the long-term existing customers,
Yep.
only for the new ones. So to get half of the price, you just break the contract and you sign the new one, and off you go. Like, people here are clever, so we're just gonna stop it and we're gonna re-sign as the new customer, and then we're gonna get it. But looking at all those things, what I'm hearing when I'm listening to is basically building the customer, building the relationship with the customer every
Yep.
step of the way.
Yep.
Meaning, before they come to the sales, it's marketing that needs to give them just enough in each step in their buyer journey to go to the next one. Not much more than that, not to get them to sign anything right away, or to click here, or to go wherever. That's why, I think we have this focus on distributing content in the feed on LinkedIn, because people don't want to click on something and go to the website just to read, or just to get the information, or whatever it is that you are giving them. Then basically they don't want to talk to million people until they come to the point when they can buy, right? So at this time it's SDR. Then they create a relationship with the customer. Then when it's the time for them to buy, when they are ready, they go to account. When it's the time for them to go to account, they buy. Then they become the customer. Then it's come talking to different people, and then it's like so many people are involved in communicating this, and basically complicating the buyer experience. Because you create a relationship with one person, then the other person comes in, then the third one comes in, and then it breaks the trust that you created with that one person. So and I had a question um, in one of the episodes, like, what do I think will, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. What will happen with the SDRs in the future? Will they still exist? Will they be part of the marketing, or something else will happen? So kind of interesting what you see. I see them already becoming like a part of the marketing team, but it all depends.
Yeah, I think I hear that a lot, and Mark, I've heard a lot of marketers talk about it, or even sales, but mainly marketers talk about, what do we do? How do we repurpose our SDRs? Going forward, there's going to be less of a need of them, and mainly because uh, just what you see Refined Labs doing is setting up true um, metrics that you can track what's working, what's not working, and uh, you know uh, chief revenue officers, CEOs are going to be forced to say, something, this old model's not working, right? So unfortunately, there's going to be less of them. There's just no way around it. And then you have product led growth. Right? That's a big, huge thing right now. And one thing that I found out, listening to a lot of podcasts, smarter people than me, um, but they figured it out. I guessed it, but everyone's pushing product led growth right now. What's that do? Skips the salesperson. Right? They can just sign up for free, don't have to talk to anybody. And that's what buyers want to do, right? Is just kind of like get going. But at the enterprise level, or at a certain dollar volume, I want to talk to a human before I commit. If I'm using Grammarly, right, and I'm getting the free version, or paying $12 a month, that's one thing. But if I'm paying 12 grand a month, some I don't know. Some people might, but me, if I was my small company, I want to talk to a human. I'm not going to just sign up. So what's that human going to be? And most companies, unfortunately, is going to be an SDR or something. That's a huge mistake, because I have there's a couple very well known companies that I want to learn about because I get asked all the time about certain SaaS products if I'd recommend them or not. So I want to see a live demo, and I've actually signed up for on their things to get a live demo, right? And talk to an SDR, and the SDR, I tell the SDR right up front, I go, okay, here's the deal. I'm not your what you're looking for, but I have a sales consultancy I do. I'm also in communities, and people ask me about SaaS products. And this product I'm interested in. I've watched a million videos. I want to see a live demo. Guess what? She would not. She says, I'm not allowed to let you go to the AE. So
Yeah.
she finally just went, hey, I'm out of time. I'll send you some videos. I told her I don't want them. She hung up on me, right? Anyway, I'm like, and so I've had that happen. Then I circle around because I know just through LinkedIn, I know somebody's an executive on that company, multi-billion-dollar company. And they said, oh, we'll take care of you. So guess what? They signed that person. They took care of me. And then once they found out I wasn't a customer, not a prospect, right, they could buy right now, right? They palmed me off to some partnership person. They never got back to me again. Anyway, so the SDR function I think is broke. So you back to your question is I think it's going to be reduced. Maybe they'll still have some because some, how it is. Some companies are going to do the same crazy enough no matter what. But I think down the road, SDRs are just rather than talk about, hey, make a marketing, really you're just going to eliminate so many SDRs, not hire more SDRs, right? And if you want a marketer, hire a marketer. Why try to force you have an SDR that doesn't know anything? Maybe they do. If they do, then switch them over, right? But a lot of them are going to have any experience marketing. Why would you just go, oh, we'll just throw them over to marketing? Well, if they don't have experience in now, if they can learn and be trained, yes. But I think I think it's too easy to think that a lot of these people go, oh, we'll just repurpose all our SDRs and make them marketers. I don't think so.
I mean,
I think you need a
just
little
like
more.
they repurpose salespeople to be revenue people.
Yeah,
Like.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, you're right. Back to the beginning. You're right. They all of a sudden you're going to know operations frontwards and backwards as a whole company and going to know everything. No, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but if you look at SaaS companies, there are so many similar products, and like it's not tech that differentiates them. It's usually the buyer's journey.
Yeah,
Do I get to test the tool? For example, you and I need to go and check out some of the tools that we need. And maybe uh, on some of them we will find free trial. So okay, we can jump in, we can test the tool, and maybe we can solve the problem today. We can come in, buy the tool if it solves the problem, and we will be the customer. We will pay even the premium if it's good. On the other hand, on some of the websites you can watch the demo.
yeah,
On the other hand, you cannot even watch the demo. You need to talk to the, I don't know, SDR or AI,
yeah,
whoever it is over there. And when you look at it from the buyer perspective, I need it now. I'm ready to buy. I don't need to go through all those things,
yeah,
to watch a demo, to go. I've done my research, and I need the solution right now to solve the problem. Can you give it to me or no? If I cannot get it, I'm already looking at another company. So
yeah,
like that buying experience is the one thing that differentiates the companies. And if marketing does its job, as you already said, creates demand, and we have the right customers coming in, then sales will have just a job to close them,
yeah,
on a bigger rate. And basically, to be able to do that, you need experienced people in sales.
yeah,
Because if you have like just MQLs, you need a lot of people in sales. Some of them will be unexperienced, so the buying experience will not be the same quality. And if you have only the best leads coming in, so salespeople will have time to go and do something else, right? To do the outreach, to
yeah,
do the outbound, and they will be more successful in that because marketing has done its job and they
yeah.
know who's reaching out. I
Yeah, if
mean,
you
what I think we are on the same page. Like simplifying things, they're actually not that complicated if
yeah,
you stop and think.
they're not they the thing is, and again, I think I think so much about it. I'm writing my second book on it. But when it comes to sales and stuff, is that I even on my strategic customer cycle, I used to say close. It was one of my stages, right? Was prospecting and close. I changed that to convert because you close in a house. So I try to get, it's all about the verbiage and stuff. And so again, if you send them again, the old school sales leaders, what do they think? We don't want to make it. What do you mean? They're just an order taker. No, that's not true. If you're going to spend $50,000 a month on my SaaS product, right? Um, I'm not just a freaking order taker. I better I say industry expert. I say you shouldn't have salespeople, right? So just the person that talks to them that once they need to know that because marketing can't drill, they can watch a bit, but to really know the fine, how does it specifically help my company for my situation, right, is going to be could be slightly different. That's why you need to talk to somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about, right? So companies need to have not newbies on commission. They need to have people that are really trained in talking to spend most of their time talking to prospective customers because I was there when I was the director of marketing sales. I spent a lot of time talking to I got to the point where I had to be careful, but like for example, medical offices. I'd be talking to a doctor and I'd be sitting there thinking, this is exactly what she's going to say now. Yep, she did. And then, well, how would I pull things out of them? Right. Usually I was referred into him by another doctor that said, you need to, Scott and his company are awesome. You need to use them. Right. So I knew their business. They knew medical better than me. But when it comes to the whole revenue cycle and all that type of stuff, right, I knew it better than they did. Right. And I would explain how I helped a few other customers out. And they'd be going, wow, wow. Like they what you they could understand that I knew their problems and I wasn't there trying to close them, right? I'm just explaining, here's how we helped another business out. Here's a case study. Here's the doctor that referred us. Here's how we helped out their clinic. And he referred me to you. So, I think anyway, so again, it's just the buyer's journey. Why would you have marketing spend so much time on this great buying journey and having a good brand and then have them talk to an SDR that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about? That breaks the whole cycle, right? You need to have them, the first person they talk to needs is somebody that has their best interest, not money, their best interest in helping them. How can I help you? Right. And again, be able to say, something, we're not a good fit. Here's why. Right. Anyway, so I think that um companies are just got to rethink it. The SaaS companies, especially that the whole SDR and AE thing, they're gonna have to rethink it because right now the way it works is just like you were saying, you'll have some CEO that wants to buy a product, right, and spend a big amount of money on it, and they can't just call in and get it. And this is what I recommend. I go, no one, everybody can do this, but what you need to do is do what Amazon does. Okay, as a company, buy now. Okay, now, as a company, you need to work your way back from that. That's how easy you need to make it. Now, if a complicated product, I get it. You can't do that. But you need to get rid of every roadblock you can to make it as close to buy now as you can. And if buy now is on the website, you might have something, hey, are you ready to buy now? Right? Talk to live chat, right? Or something, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's just the whole buying journey is funny because all the marketing people and CEOs never talks about this buying journey. But then what they do, they have electric fence as soon as they get to your company. SDRs and AEs a lot of times, salespeople, and a lot of times they're desperate.
Yeah, I was wondering why do we see it, like even some young people that are working with me, they come into the company and I explain them how things are and they look at this, listen to the podcast, listen to me talking to the potential clients, and then they were like, but it's logical, how come that they don't understand it? And then it's totally different thing. There are so many biases in B2B that I think I had a conversation with that with Rolly Sutherland, and I think not many people are actually talking about it. Like CMO needs to hire the best agency out there because if they fail, he can say, go check it out. It's the best one. I hired the best. It's not my fault that they failed. No matter if they are a fit or no, whatever it is, they are the best. and it happens like that with all the other buying the tools, buying everything. There are so many these small things inside the companies, and also people having habits, learning to do things old way, not being able to kind of adjust to the things. There are so many things that still needs to change, and we still need to talk about. But I think like the discussion that you and I are having is one small step in that direction.
Yeah. Overall, again, I don't, I like, it's like, alignment between marketing and sales, and they should say customer service and everybody in the whole company. But I hear that all the time. How do you get alignment? And again, in like the peak community, I say, yes, I did marketing, but my really my most experience is in sales. And I'm telling you, if I would have had any marketer say, hey, guess what? I'm gonna do this, and they started sending me per like 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 a high percentage of the people they sent me were like would be potential customers, right? I would love marketing. Again, this isn't rocket science, folks. Is that that's how you make it. But what's happened is people like me have had like a marketing leader spend tons of money, and you keep talking to the owner, going, what? I haven't got one. Has anybody got a customer out of this? Right? Oh, it's a long play. Oh, it's a long play. Well, then a year later, they fire the marketing person, right? And me, what am I saying? I'm going, well, of course not, right? I mean, it's what I've seen before. So, how to get alignment between marketing and sales is not tough. One, have them work as a team. Who would have thought that? And customer service too, right? And because they can all work as a team, and then figure out what are the best ways to attract the right type of customers, and then be able to, um, and that's where somebody that knows the product really good and how it applies. Marketing, sometimes maybe they should, but they don't always have the time to know super down details of every nitty gritty, right? Like maybe a product engineer in a company, maybe a company has a product engineer. I'm never going to know that much. That's why you bring in a product engineer, because they're talking to one of their engineers and they can really get down to the nitty gritty parts of it, right? But they're not talking to some SDR that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Anyway, so back to what you said about it isn't rocket science. A lot of this stuff, I think it's common sense, and hopefully some of these companies. I think I really think it is a leadership problem. I think there's a lot of people that are in leadership right now that need to be replaced. If
Will
you're
you think
failing,
that will change now that the younger generation is taking over?
I hope so. I'm not kidding you. I again, when I'm at uh, I spoke for years at Boise State, then I taught a couple of years there, and all the students, a lot of them are millennials, just hard workers, everything. So I'm one of those people that I laugh because whenever somebody my age or older, especially, says the younger generation is just a bunch of lazy people, whenever you generalize, you've just become old, right? You can't generalize old. So I think what the younger generation wants is what my parents had, which is companies that gave a shit about them, right? And there was a possibility they could retire with them because they cared about them, right? That's all they want. And they want to balance work-life balance. What's wrong with that? They don't want to, you know, uh, be a slave to their company, right? So anyway, I have total hope. I do. I think the younger generation, absolutely. I think they're gonna help with the change, because they're gonna get rid of some of the old stuff that you and me are talking about. Well, heck, this has been going on for 2 decades and you still have them doing the same stuff. We're going to get some new leader in there that's going to go, you know something? It's time to do something different. So I'm very not hopeful. I almost can guarantee the young generation is going to be a refreshing change.
Yeah, let's have that as the final message.
Okay.
A little bit of optimism in this hard topic. Scott, tell me and everybody listening where they can find more information about you, where they can reach out to you, and maybe
Yeah.
get clarification of some of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah. Two ways. One, always the easiest, is LinkedIn. And I used to wear a shirt and tie, and then when COVID happened, I have like 6 shirts that look exactly the same. So I'm looking look just like this on LinkedIn, or my website is www.mca, that stands for Mixed Customer Arts. So MCA-2.com. And that's
Yeah,
my
we'll
website.
leave the link in the
Okay,
description for
cool.
for everybody. They can.
But this has been great, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you having coming here and having a discussion about all those things happening. Guys, for you, recommend, going back to the beginning of the episode, as I always tell you, and listen to everything again. Slow mo, stop when you feel that you need to understand things more in depth. If you feel like you need clarification on some of the things, you know where to find Scott, you know where to find me. Reach us out, and as I always say for the end, keep it funky. Bye bye.